This is a pulsar. The sound you're hearing is radiation from the pulsar. This kind of radiation would melt you in seconds for even being close to it. But the funny thing is, it's not even the worst part of space. I saw someone making a game on my TikTok For You page about drifting through space, and the game I believe is called God-Sized and is releasing in September, and it got me thinking about how underutilized the concept of space truly is in the world of horror. Now yes, I do know some space games exist like Alien Isolation or Dead Space. The slight issue with those games that I have is that they have aliens or monsters. I guess I should be not surprised from a game called Alien Isolation, but the general gist is it has something chasing you. Ironically, I think adding something chasing you reduces the scare factor. However, the concept of space horror in my eyes is perfectly depicted in games such as Iron Lung, or Something Bad is on the Moon, or even Voices of the Void, where you are dropped in pure silence and the environment does the talking instead. Iron Lung is one of the most famous ones due to Markiplier making a movie about it first of all. Iron Lung takes place in a universe where the stars are dying and dwindling, being known as the Quiet Rapture, and you are descending deep in an ocean of blood on a moon. This already creates an uneasy tension in the world of being very claustrophobic first of all, and the game tells you what happened in the outside world already. Granted, this game is about a monster in this new moon's blood ocean, but the whole premise is linked to space, and I do like Iron Lung because it makes you feel helpless, which is what space generally does to someone. Something Bad is on the Moon is also a great example where you were tasked with an Apollo 17 style mission on the moon where you were to set up a lunar device. However, there is something chasing you. But there's two things that these games have in common. A monster of some kind, an alien. And later in the video you will see why maybe that isn't always a great idea. Psychological horror games have always tripped me out, especially with the few phobias linked to space. A game just centered around those would be one of the best horror experiences out there. To understand why space horror is the best kind of horror, we must first lay out the aspects that make space scary. The first being the silence. Space is obviously a vacuum, and so being plunged in pure silence is already pretty nerve-wracking to me. The fact you're also powerless in the moment, but the fact you're also powerless in the moment is something a lot of games do in horror, but they give a lot of sound cues, and depending on what game you're playing, hints as well, which takes away from the immersion of being an actual horror game. Think about the backrooms and why that works so well. I'm talking about the original one, not whatever level 999 is for a pregnant woman. It was first claustrophobic, and the most important part, it was silent. No one knew what was to come, and the constant green lights and lime carpet and walls just kept reminding you that you will never ever find a way out. But being lost in the backrooms would be a blessing than being lost in space. Most people think that if they were dropped in the middle of space, they see this. Pretty, right? But what they would actually see is this. Just nothing. And if you're unlucky, you'll eventually drift to planets, black holes, or even pulsars. Which leads me on to my next point, megalophobia. Megalophobia is the fear of huge things, and space fuels that fear completely. Imagine drifting through space having no control of where you are due to no air resistance, and suddenly see this. Just getting bigger and bigger, and you can never escape it. I always didn't like big things, especially when you can't do anything to not look away from them. And for video games with that trait, you don't really see many do that. Again, when the God-Sized game does come out, I will try and make a video on it because I really do like the idea of no aliens or monsters, and just the universe being the alien that was hiding in plain sight this entire time. Many horror games rely on the monster or villain to make the game scary, and to an extent this can be effective. But monsters and aliens and whatnot, in my eyes, can be limited in the scare department, and only grant a certain level of fear up until a point where you just get exhausted from it. It's more of a one-hit wonder, and that's why the feel of space and how unpredictable it is utterly bewildering to me that no one has actually seized that idea. Why add a monster to the scaring when the environment can do it for you?